Linus.
Hey there, Charlie. You seem a little down today.
Yeah, Snoopy's not being himself, and it's starting to bother me. We have all kinds of things to get ready for Christmas, and I can't get him to help with a thing. We need to hang the lights, decorate the tree, and practice for the Nativity musical. It's driving me crazy.
What seems to be the problem with him, Charlie Brown?
Well, he lays inside of his doghouse all day long and doesn't seem to get excited about anything. Whenever I have my Christmas music playing, he shakes his finger and storms out to his doghouse. When I tried to give him new Christmas treats, he sniffed them and walked away.
Well, Charlie Brown, have you heard of something called sensory processing disorder?
Sensation progression of what?
No, sensory processing disorder, sir. I was reading about it this week. It was a disorder discovered by OT Jane Ayres after she researched and came up with a theory called sensory integration. You should look into it. Maybe Snoopy's having trouble modulating all of his senses. Have you heard of the 5 senses?
Well, of course I have, Linus.
Well, there are actually 2 more, called proprioception and vestibular sense, that contribute to sensory integration. Let me show you what I mean. See, over here we have the 5 basic senses: taste, smell, vision, hearing, and touch. And hearing. But we also have a proprioceptive sense that tells you where your arms and legs are, even if you have your eyes closed or looking the other way. Then there's this thing called vestibular sense that lets you know when you're moving fast or slow and gives you a sense of balance. So maybe Snoopy's having trouble integrating all of this information.
Oh, good grief. I'll need to see a doctor to figure this one out.
Did I hear someone say a doctor? The doctor is in.
Well, doctor?
That'll be 5 cents. 5 cents for advice.
Good grief. Okay, doctor, what can you tell me about sensory integration?
Well, it just so happens that my doctor friend Jane Ayres is here to tell us about that.
Well, in the 1960s, I started developing ideas for the sensory integration model within the field of occupational therapy, relating particularly to pediatrics. I proposed that posture is fundamental to a child's visual motor development. After working with many children, I coined the term sensory integrative dysfunction. In the early 70s, I applied these formulations about the sensory systems to occupational therapy intervention. In 1975, the Southern California Sensory Integration Tests were published, which helped assess children who had the hidden dysfunctions. My test was later revised in 1989 and trademarked as the Sensory Integration and Praxis Tests. I've had help from a number of other scholars, including Winnie Dunn, Lucy Jane Miller, and Ann Fisher, to further progress the model of sensory integration into the diagnosis of a sensory processing disorder. Key ideas to my theory include the assumptions of neuroplasticity, that there's a developmental sequence of sensory integrative capacities, that the brain functions as an integrative whole, and that the brain organization makes adaptive behavior possible. In order for sensory integration to be successful, there is a spiral of development in sensory intake, sensory integration and organization, and adaptive occupational behavior.
All right, I can take it from here. One strength of the sensory integration model is that there have been a significant amount of research conducted with this theory. Evidence is widely available for use in OT practice. One critique is the cost associated with using this model. Some assessments are expensive, and there is extensive training that is also quite costly. The assessments include the Sensory Integration and Praxis Test, the Miller Function and Participation Scales, the Movement Assessment Battery for Children, the Miller Assessment for preschoolers, the Sensory Profile, and the Goal-Oriented Assessments of Life Skills.
Oh wow, well how can we use this to help Snoopy?
5 more cents and I'll treat Snoopy myself. Bring Snoopy in to see me and I'll start with an assessment. I'll evaluate his behavior and then develop an expert intervention to modify his behavior. Some sensory integration dysfunctions include problems with motor planning, hyperactive distractible behaviors, and problems with vestibular and postural sense, like integration of left and right sides of the body, midline crossing, and bilateral motor coordination, so we can test to see if he has any of these problems.
Woof, woof, woof.
Okay, Snoopy, we are going to have you complete the sensory profile questionnaire. Okay, Snoopy, it looks like you scored more than most people for low registration and sensation avoiding. From here, I'll use my skilled training to develop a treatment plan for your needs. Let me tell you a little bit about how I come up with treatment processes and methods. Based on your problems and the underlying reasons for those problems, the intervention will have a broad impact on your behaviors. I will be monitoring for progress by observations of neuromotor status and behavioral organization. Play will be the media used for these intervention processes. You will need to choose to participate in the actions of therapy in order for the treatment to be effective. Core elements of this intervention process from Kielhofner include sensory opportunities, they provide just right challenges, they collaborate on activity choice, guide self-organization, support optimal arousal, create play context, maximize the child's success, ensure physical safety, arrange the room to engage the child, foster therapeutic alliance, and that is all. How does that sound to you, Snoopy? Great, let's get started. Well, Charlie, Snoopy is all finished with his therapy. Here are some pictures of the interventions we did today. I think another 5 cents is in order.
Good grief. I'm glad Lucy was able to help you, Snoopy.